Hello and welcome to Walker Tea Review, where we are looking at teas, a chance to kind of taste teas together, to go through the full experience together, to go through a tea appreciation as we do. So, and today we've got I've got a oolong tea that we're going to be looking at. So let's go ahead and get this one started. Tea equipment that been using, always use, frequently use. The kettle, I got a cheap. Well, I should say a less expensive. It's been very reliable. Just an aroma tea kettle. You can find these probably for around $25-ish, $25 to $30 around now. A Gaiwan set like this, $3-4. Let's see what else. A pitcher. I think I noticed prices like this around $7 for a pitcher, and that's on. I would say these two, your most affordable or your lowest price source is probably going to be eBay. Of course, those prices, I should say, don't include shipping because eBay can often be outside of the U.S. or in country of origin. And then just a nice cup. I prefer a cup with a white inside. I prefer a bowl large enough that you can smell as you pour. And it gives you a nice wide surface area that cools the tea fairly evenly. Okay, so not to delay any further, water's been brought to a boil. It's been cooling for about 2 minutes now, but that's okay because this is a more lightly oxidized oolong that we're going to be looking at, and they often perform better with a little bit lower temperature. So I'm going to add enough tea here to kind of so that I don't see the bottom of say 1 inch diameter of my little bowl here, and so that should be enough. These are bulky leaves. If you didn't notice, these are twisted along the main middle vein of the leaf, so they go long and curly. And let's go ahead and add our water now, moving around to really coat those. Already a fairly bright, vibrant green color coming off this. I mean, it just, bam, it was there. So I did want to mention that. But we're going to cover that and let it steep for a while, for a minute or so, just as we kind of introduce this tea. Let me set that aside, just like so. I want that seal to stay, I want the water to stay above the rim, so I want to reseal that. Now, this tea is from Teance in Berkeley, California. This is their Buddha's Hand, or Fosho is the Chinese name. Buddha's Hand, it's an oolong. You can find 2 ounces available currently on Teance's site for $31. That's the minus, I should say, not factoring in any kind of specials, holiday offers that may be available right now. This is a 2010 harvest. That information is provided on the site. This tea is from Shiding, which is a township, I guess you would say, in Taiwan. A thing to note, Foshan is somewhat related, or at least it looks in appearance and somewhat in location of origin, to Wenshan Baozhong, another type of Chinese tea that is also lightly oxidized, often wrapped along the middle vein of the leaf as well, instead of getting curled round or rolled into a ball. Information I'm looking for you or anyone out there who may also have information on where is Wenshan. Best I can tell is a district in Taiwan, and my information indicates that this tea, the Wenshan, is actually named after the area in Taiwan where it was most often sold, not necessarily the place that it was grown. However, in the Shiding area and the Pinglin area, between those 2 townships that are outside of Taiwan, there is a Wenshan business district, or business areas, maybe possibly more than one, where these teas can also be associated with. So I'm wondering if the business district took its name from the Taiwanese market area, Wenshan. she said a Taipei, I should say, Taipei, not, of course it's all on Taiwan Island. This tea is grown by Mr. Lee as well, and there's information about Mr. Lee on Teance's website. So, I'm going to look at the dry leaf, but before I do, this is already looking like a pretty bright, rich liquor here, so I want to pour that off before we go too far. So I'm going to get out my pitcher. Pitchers are great for serving more than one person, and it also allows us to look at the color of the liquor together a little more easily too. So I'm going to give it a pour. You notice I'm touching the rim of my bowl as much as possible, so that because the sides can get quite hot when you're pouring boiling water in there. But look at that color already. We'll get to that in just a moment. Talk a little bit about this dry leaf, though. Now, some would describe this as there's a gardenia component to this. And okay, yes, I could see where that would come from. It wasn't the most dominant note that I picked up. I picked up movie or butter flavored popcorn. There's something about this that just smells kind of rich, kind of buttery. Again, the heat off of a freshly popped corn, there's just a little bit of that in there as well. And these are the kinds of smells that I associate more with a certain varietal of tea in Taiwan, and that is the Jinshen. Now, I can't be for certain that this is a Jinshen varietal leaf, but that would be my first guess. Looking at these leaves, again, they're pretty well tightly wrapped, that you can see that they are. Oh, they're not the brightest blue green of like a lightly oxidized or lightly roasted Winshan Baozhong that gets those deep blue green colors. This one is a bit more of a darker green, darker a grayed kind of blue green. So blue green is there, but it's duller, it's grayer as a result of looks like of more heat, more roasting applied to these teas. These tea leaves, I should say. Length here, you're looking at lengths of 3 inches or so. Again, these are wrapped along the squeezed or bunched along the middle vein of the leaf. Most of these are individual leaves. I don't see a lot of, although I just pulled out a couple here of leaf pairs. Here's 2 leaves. What used to be a bud there on the end as well. Here's another one that looks like a leaf and a bud or tip there. So I should say sets, now that I look a little more closely, sets are probably 40-50% of this. Okay, at least just from this little handful that I pulled out. So put that back in, and then we'll be able to talk a little bit more about the wet leaf. We've already poured, so that's cooling. And again, cooling is okay at least at this point, because a lot of these teas I find generally are more nuanced as they cool. So let's talk a little about the wet leaf here. Some of a light amount of lima bean coming off, and I associate that with some teas like Winshan Baozhong, a lighter green type color, lighter oxidized. Still the buttery notes coming out, the butter popcorn coming off as well. So those are nice. So it gives it a kind of a creamy, buttery, vegetal type note. And looking at our leaves here, pretty good size leaf actually, still curled, and I'm kind of gently coaxing that leaf open. And you can see it's a pretty good size leaf as well. The edges are not that jagged. Okay, but you are getting a leaf here that is, say, 3 or more inches in length, or about 3 inches in length. Very thin, fairly light as well. Not a very leathery, tough type. Let me see if we can get some of those, if I can find some of those sets. Here's a set. Again, a nice full-size leaf here. That's more, looks like over 3 inches in length already. Another leaf off here to the side, so they are connected. Remains of what could have been a tip there, although there's no needle there now. So this gives us another good sized leaf to look at. So I want to make sure to spread that out. And you do see, I'm seeing at least on this pair here, a little more color on the edges, a little more browning taking place. So there's a little bit more oxidation that took place on these leaves. It's a pretty clean cut, but also looking at the edge, at the tips here. Okay, yeah, nice colors, nice shapes here. I'm going to leave that for what it is for now and set that aside. Again, these have become a lighter, brighter color. Lots of brighter green now present in these, and again, very large sized leaves, but still thin, not too leathery, not too heavy. Let's go ahead and go to our liquor. Let's talk a little about that. Still, first thing that hits is still that buttery flavor. It's becoming a little bit of a cream, buttermilk type creaminess to the smell now. You also see you got a nice, bright, rich color. This one's cloudy. There's a lot of particulates floating around in there, which could be, I'm going to say, it looks like fuzz off of the tippy aspect of this, but could be some oils in there as well. The teas and natural oils, I should say. Nice bright golden color. Give this another shot. Okay, this one's got, again, this one's that dominant theme of kind of buttery popcorn. That butteriness is strongly present in the aroma here, or more, I'd say, stronger than other elements. You still get a little bit of a something like a fresh lima bean in there as well. Texture-wise, it feels fairly smooth and silken. It's a very light, drying aspect that just kind of covers the tongue, coats the inside of the mouth, so it feels smooth. Okay. Then when you get to the aftertaste, a little bit of the buttery sweetness comes in play at the first, drops off relatively quickly. Compared to a Winshan Baozhong, this one's got a smoother texture. This one has a less watery component to it, a heavier texture to it as well. And although the flavor in the aftertaste may fade, still the texture, that coating sticks in your mouth. Still, my mouth still feels smoother, softer than it did before. Okay? So, looking at this tea as a whole, I would give this tea a 90. It's got nice, big, interesting leaves to look at. It's got consistent flavors of that buttery popcorn that carry through from the, you pick it up in the dry leaf, the wet. It's there as you in your cup as well. It just carries on. And I would say the point of note about this tea, the prominence of this tea, is that that texture. That texture really gives this tea a smoothness that just carries on. And so I hope you enjoy the texture, the smoothness, and look for smoothness in this tea and others here at Walker Tea Review.